In the heart of the village of Otto, nestled between the green hills and the winding river, lived a young boy named Kofi. He was 11 years old, with wide, curious eyes and a keen sense of adventure. Kofi was the only child of Mrs. Juma and Mama Amina, who worked as farmers. His father worked the fields while his mother took care of the household chores and sometimes helped in the village markets. The village was close-knit, where everyone knew each other's business, and children grew up learning the customs and values that had been passed down through generations. It was a place where elders shared wisdom, and the community watched out for one another. Kofi's parents were often busy with work, and sometimes he would be left alone for hours after school. To ease the burden of childcare, Kofi's parents had asked Auntie Nana, their neighbor and a longtime friend, to look after him after school. Auntie Nana, a woman in her mid-40s, was a widow. She had no children of her own but was known for her nurturing spirit and warm heart. She often came over to visit Kofi's family and would invite Kofi to her home, where she had a large garden and a small cozy house made from local wood. At first, Kofi was excited about spending time with Auntie Nana. She would teach him how to tend to the garden, tell him stories about the old days, and even share the secret recipes for delicious meals like the spicy beans and rice that Kofi loved. It was an escape from the long, lonely hours at home, but over time things began to change. One afternoon, after Kofi had returned home from school, Auntie Nana called him over to her house as she often did. She was sitting on the old wooden bench outside watching the sunset. "Come, Kofi, I have something important to teach you today," Auntie Nana said with a soft smile. "It's a secret, just between us." Kofi, curious and eager to please, went over. Auntie Nana led him into the back room of her house. It was cooler in there, and the only light came from a small lamp in the corner. Auntie Nana had a kind look on her face as she spoke in a low voice. "This is something every young man must know," she said. "It's a way for us to become strong." Kofi was confused but trusted Auntie Nana, so he listened. She taught him strange and confusing things about the body, telling him it was a grown-up secret. At first, Kofi didn't understand what she was doing, but Auntie Nana assured him it was all part of growing up. She asked him to touch her in certain ways, telling him this was a special ritual meant to teach him about maturity. Kofi, though unsure and uncomfortable, went along with it. He didn't know how to explain it, and Auntie Nana kept telling him it was normal for men to learn these things. Days turned into weeks, and Kofi began to dread his visits to Auntie Nana's house. What had once been a place of joy and comfort had become a place of fear and confusion. He stopped playing with his friends after school and often found excuses to stay away from Auntie Nana's house, waiting until the last minute before heading there, dragging his feet. Then, something strange started to happen. Kofi began wetting the bed again, a habit he had stopped when he was much younger. He felt a tightness in his chest whenever he thought about Auntie Nana and what she had made him do. His once bright eyes became dull and he lost his appetite for the games he loved to play with his friends. One afternoon, as Kofi sat alone in his room, he overheard his parents talking. His mother, Mama Amina, was speaking with his father, Mr. Juma. "Missy, I've noticed Kofi has been distant lately. He's not the same happy child he was before," Mama Amina said, her voice filled with concern. "I've noticed too. He's not playing with the other children as he used to, and he's always tired." Mr. Juma replied, his face creased with worry. "We should speak to him." That evening after dinner, Mama Amina sat down with Kofi. She looked at him carefully, her warm eyes filled with love. "Kofi, is something troubling you? You've been so quiet lately. If you're feeling sad or if something's bothering you, you can always talk to us." Kofi hesitated. His heart raced and he felt the weight of the secret he had carried for so long, but he couldn't keep it inside any longer. He looked up at his mother, tears welling in his eyes. "It's Auntie Nana. She makes me do things that confuse me," Kofi whispered. "She says it's a secret, but it feels wrong." Mama Amina's face turned pale as she realized the gravity of the situation. Without saying a word, she wrapped Kofi in a tight hug. She had suspected that something wasn't right, but hearing it from her son's lips broke her heart. "We need to speak to the elders about this," Mama Amina said, her voice firm but filled with fear. You did the right thing by telling us, Kofi. The next day, Mama Amina went to the village elders, accompanied by Mzi Juma. They gathered in the central meeting place, where the village chief and the elder women were seated. They explained the situation in hushed voices, and the elder women, with tears in their eyes, expressed their shock and disbelief. They were appalled that such a thing could happen in their village, but they had always valued respect for children and the sacredness of the family. The elders quickly took action. A team of village women visited Auntie Nana's house and, after speaking with her, gathered the evidence they needed. Auntie Nana was arrested by the local authorities and a formal investigation was launched. The village rallied around Kofi, offering support and comfort. They assured him that he was safe now and that he had not done anything wrong. Over the next few weeks, Kofi's parents became more involved in his life. They spent more time with him, listening to his stories and making sure he was never alone for too long. They spoke openly with him about the importance of respect, boundaries and trust. Slowly, Kofi began to heal. His friends at school noticed a change in him. He was laughing again, joining in games, and his energy seemed to return. The bedwetting stopped, and the heavy weight that had clouded his days began to lift. One afternoon, as Kofi and his friends played by the river, he looked up at the sky and smiled. The world seemed brighter now. His village had protected him, and though the scars of the past would take time to heal, he knew he was not alone. From that day forward, the village of Otto grew stronger in their commitment to protecting their children. The elders made it a point to remind the community of the importance of open communication, respect, and looking out for one another. The story of Kofi became a quiet reminder that no child should ever suffer in silence, and that together a community can overcome even the darkest of times.